Welcome back to the Real Talk Corner podcast, where we dive deep into personal journeys and topics that can inspire and transform us on a mind, body, soul, and spirit level. I'm your host, Ariana Gutierrez, and welcome. Today, I'm doing a special one, just a very short one, talk about Thanksgiving. The Real Talk Corner. We back. We in the building. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, fighting my way through the darkness where the wicked don't rest. Conscious aware, truth I dare, shield tied to my chest. My tenacity gon' put these motherfuckers to the test. High priestess of fire, alchemistic desire. I say manifest and shit, even when I am tired. You can call me amazing, by the bricks I be laying, but you'll never call me lazy, cause my vice are devastating. In the league of my own, spitting real talk energy. I know a little something about a thing called synergy. This is old radio, throw a sun and masses awaken me. Listen up, cause we about to set your mind, body, and soul free. There's a lot of hoo-ha when Thanksgiving comes in, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it. It's also spreading some love and joy to you guys, and reminding you guys to think about what you are truly thankful for. Now, yes, a lot of people go into the Native Americans and how they were massacred and bludgeoned in the so-called, Pilgrim dinner, and why should we celebrate it? And I think that, remember, these are things that happened a very long time ago, and a lot of people don't celebrate it for those purposes. So I think that instead of talking shit to people because they decide to group up with their family and have this Thanksgiving dinner, don't get mad at them because they're choosing to use this day to celebrate with their family. I don't think I've ever met anyone in my life that sat around their dinner table reminiscing on the pilgrims that got bludgeoned. The Indians that got bludgeoned. I actually never heard about that until I got into college and I took a history class that was about the Native American Indians. Then that was where I got the real truth. And I was like, oh shit, this is what really happened. So I never knew the story growing up, right? So I think that we just have to take that step back and remember that not everybody even knows the story, right? And then the ones that do, they're not celebrating. I don't know not one person who celebrates, knowingly celebrating in hurrah, hurrah to the pilgrims. But in actuality, all of us, unless you're Native American, need to be thankful that they came over here because regardless, and I know that sometimes our history has a very dark past to it, and it's not something to be proud of. But again, they started the concept for us to come over here. And so all of our people started to come over here, right? And if they hadn't done that, then we don't know where America would be today. And I know that's sometimes the give and take of life. And of course, we don't want it to be like that anymore. To society today, when you look back, you're like, oh my God, that was horrible, right? But back then it was necessary and it was legal. Like that's what they did. They conquered. They went to other lands and they conquered and they fought. And the people would try to fight back. And that's in every history. You could go to every country, every island. They all have their past of someone coming over to conquer, them fighting, some of them losing, some of them not. And it's just like we get so pissed off and mad. And I understand the Native Americans that are still feeling this because even up to like in the 1970s, they were still being reformed, cutting their hair and making them not speak their own language. So I understand that it's still a thing and it's hurtful. It may be because of the way that they're taught by their people. When they see other people celebrating Thanksgiving, it brings up a lot of hurt and anger with them. But if there's any Native Americans who happen to listen to this, just remember, just take that step back. It was the past. not everyone who celebrates it today is celebrating the demise of the Native American culture. Um, and I think we have to just take that step back. I know for me, I've never really been one to celebrate it. The times that I did celebrate is because of my mom. My mom was a big, huge Thanksgiving person, but again, she never, it was an American tradition that she did. And we would just, come together and eat and hang out. And that was that. Um, when I got older and when Black Friday became a thing is when I decided that I didn't want to be a part of the bullshit of the Black Friday, because I worked for Walmart. And when I became a manager at Walmart and the Black Fridays was really coming in, it was crazy that people were sitting outside for like 3 o'clock in the morning, and we would get there like 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure everything is right, even though we set up the night before. And we would open that door and it would sound like a fucking stampede. We literally would have to move out of the way or people would like fucking run us over. And it just made me see things so differently, that we could sit at the table, we could be so thankful, and then we can get out here and then we start pushing and fighting. I mean, there's been stories of someone dying, being murdered trying to get a Cabbage Patch doll. There's all of these stories, and I think that's the thing is, one day you're thankful, the next day you're a heathen. Like, take that step back, stay in that gratitude. Don't go into the consumerism mindset where you need to, go off and hurt everyone, because that is the craziness. That's what hurts people. It's the 1 minute we're so thankful, we're such a family, we're so together, and the next minute we're harming and hindering people. And I think that as we sit and be thankful, we got to be thankful for our fellow humans, our fellow neighbors, things like that, and not get into this very selfish energy. I, for one, do not shop Black Friday. I don't believe in it anymore. I'm like, if I can't afford it, I'm not buying it. I don't do the whole Christmas overload shopping anyway. So I'm not someone who buys a million gifts. I stopped doing that. I used to be someone who did. And over time, we realized that we just did too much. We would stress ourselves out every year and overloading a bunch of gifts, and it just was too much. And so now myself and my daughter, we do not get all into those vibes. We don't create that. We just don't. And I think it's just one of those things that you got to remember, understanding your whys. We don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. Like, we'll go out to eat because it's a day off for everyone. But that's pretty much it, because we're just not into the holiday. It's not our holiday. And I know that now that they've switched, and like the day after is like Indigenous Day. And I do think, as much as everyone wants us to sit and mourn for the Native Americans, I don't think that that's really correct to do. I think we, yes, in one aspect, it's good to know the truth, and at some point you should tell your children the unfortunate history, right, of America. But at the same time, I wouldn't overload. You're trying to have this time with your family and create memories, and then you're going to throw on top of it this horrifying history. I think that just doesn't go hand in hand. Not saying to forget what happened, but every time we're sitting here and constantly reliving the tragedies, we constantly see anger, 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 anger. And it's like, well, how are we supposed to move forward and change the behavior, or change the anger, or change how we see things, if we're living in it and we're still so pissed off, right? Now, I get there's always going to be someone that says, go back to your country, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And those people, to me, they're non-existent for me. Again, if you put yourself in these situations, you're going to call these type of people in. I don't live in that reality. I don't sit and think about color and skin color and nationality. I just don't. I'd rather think about other things and put my time and effort into other things in the world. So in this you know, life, we're in 2024, sit and think about it. What are your reasons for Thanksgiving? I we don't even do the big cooking anymore, just because it was like we would overeat. It's this thing in America where we overeat, we overdo, we overbuy, we overconsume. And so we stopped doing that. It was just like, what, why are we, well, why are we doing this? Why do we sit, overeat, and then go shop? Like, we just spent all this money on this fucking food for one day, right? Because no one's really eating turkey the next day. I do, because I just love turkey, but no one's really eating leftovers the next day. We're just not that society anymore. So we literally waste, again, wasting. So again, these are things that I started to look at, and I was just like, I don't want to be that wasteful person anymore. I don't want to be the consumer. I don't want to be involved in, yes, I still buy things, but I have become more of a minimalist in my life versus consume, consume, consume. I don't feel it's necessary to just keep buying shit I have no room for, or that doesn't do anything or doesn't give me anything for, right? There's just like no purpose to have it, no purpose to hold it, no purpose to add it into my home. I don't see any point. So for me, I've just taken a step back and kind of said, I want to do things differently and show my kids differently. So when they're coming up, their values change, and we can really sit and be in the moment of appreciation. And if we really want to celebrate, it is just truly coming together as a family, versus this need to buy, spend. So we don't, like I said, we don't do that. If we do something, we go out to eat, we go put money into an establishment versus buying a whole bunch of shit that we're not going to even eat the leftovers. So again, I'm not knocking anyone who does Thanksgiving. You guys do what you do. Just know your whys of why you're doing it. Know your, what your, yeah, just know your whys. Know your whys of why you're doing things, why you're together, why you're coming together, because it's a beautiful thing to have your family. It's a beautiful thing to spend time together. It's a beautiful thing to just take the moment to appreciate each other. And what better to break bread together, right? There really is nothing better than that time you spend with family. But I know if you guys are anything like me that grew up in a dysfunctional family, you'd be happy for all of 2 seconds, and then there would be fighting and carrying on. So try not to allow that to be your normal and showing your kids the values that you instill. Remember, they see you. So if they see everyone sitting around a table eating, and all of a sudden they're going to beat people's ass and fucking shop, then what are the morals and values that you're teaching them, right? If all of a sudden you're buying all of this craziness stuff, what are you really teaching them? And we think children only learn by what we tell them, right? No, they learn by watching us. Everything that we do, they watch us. My daughter was like that. She wanted to be everything like I was. Everything that I did, she watched, she saw. The way that I spoke, the way that I dealt with others, the way that I dealt with animals, just all of those things she would see and she would emulate. So remember that your children are watching you, and they're watching what you do and what you value and what you hold dear. And so when everything that you're doing, right, is teaching them. So you got to make that decision. Like, what does this mean for us? What does this holiday truly mean? And I'm not saying don't sit down with your kids and tell them the reality of the history behind it, right? But I would say, even with that, go ahead and change it and create something beautiful for your family. Like, take this time. That's what Thanksgiving is for, to be thankful for what you have, being that energy of gratitude, which I think gratitude should be every day, but some people choose once a year. to do gratitude and sit and be thankful for your ancestors. They're the ones that shed blood for you. The reason why you're still living and breathing is because of them, right? Hold thanks to whoever you hold high in your faith, you know. I don't care what you believe in. I'm not here to convert anyone into my belief system. I think whoever you hold dear, whoever you pray to, whoever you worship, sit and be thankful for what you feel they have done for you, what you feel life has been given to you. Be thankful, feel blessed. Talk about those things. I think we've lost the biggest part of it, which is being thankful and sitting in gratitude, sitting around and looking and being thankful to the family that you have, that are supporting you, that you're supporting them. Be thankful for the children that have been born into the family, the next generations. When you sit at the table and you're looking at your family, how many generations are sitting there? Be thankful that you're alive to see it, right? So I just think there are these things that we can do to really just take that step back and go, oh, you know what? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. You know, it's just one of those things. And we can stop with this again. We don't got to go back into the anger and the hurt and the pain. Yes, a harsh memory of history, but we don't have to stay in that. And at some point, the only way we as a society, as humanity, grow and change is as we forgive. And I know that that can be hard for a lot of people, you know, because that anger runs deep within them. The generational trauma does pass on. And depending on how whoever raises you and what they instill in your mind, but you at some point have to sit and go, what do I want this holiday to mean for myself, my children, and the next generations? What do I want this time to be? And there's a time to teach history, but there's a time to utilize it to bring people together for love, for sacredness, for togetherness. Again, I don't practice this holiday, but I'm not mad at anyone who does. I feel like if you do, you know, just take it and understand that you're putting this together for who, right? So, no, this is not a murderous holiday. No, you don't have to sit and be pissed off and mad at every white person in America. I get so tired of fucking seeing the shit. Yes, there were the original pilgrims, which I'm not related to any of them. Okay. My people came way later. I think that this whole thing of being pissed off and mad at every fucking white person in America is ridiculous. Not every one of them came at the same time and massacred the Indians, you guys. Okay. A lot of our families came after. All right. Were they the ones that opened the gates for us? Yes. But they're not our people. So don't go getting mad at every fucking white colored person that you see. You don't know who they are. You don't know their background. You don't know their family. Get out of this bullshit. You think you're not racist, but the second you're looking at someone's skin color, you're just as racist as everyone else. So get out of that. Instill some beautiful traditions for your children. Also take the time, yes, to teach them the history, but explain to them why you choose to celebrate it. Because if you're not sitting around talking about how the pilgrims did this, that, and the third, you're definitely not celebrating that for that reason, right? So let them know why you guys choose to celebrate it. Why do you choose to partake in it? Again, I would tell my daughter the same thing of why I choose not to partake in it, why I choose not to celebrate it. I just didn't see a point in it. Because it just, for me, it's not something that I feel called to celebrate. I do things really based on calling and pull, energetically, spiritually pull to things. And if I don't feel the connection to something, then I just don't. And even before I was a very spiritual person, I did not really celebrate Thanksgiving. It was every now and then I would celebrate. I'll go to someone's house. You know, I can count on one hand how many times I've actually cooked for Thanksgiving. But I've gone to other people's house, of course, that have invited me over. But again, I've never truly been like called. It's not a holiday that I'm called to celebrate and practice. And I think sometimes if we do that and just sit and ask, yourself. Is this something that I truly want to participate in? This is something that I truly want to be connected to. And if it's not, then let it go and roll on, right? All right, you guys, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope that you guys have a very, very special holiday. Again, whether you practice it or you don't, take some time just to sit in gratitude and say thank you. And then, of course, you guys remember to like this podcast. If you're over on YouTube, like it, subscribe, share this shit out. That helps me with the algorithm. If you're over there, excuse me, if you're over there on Spotify, Apple, or iHeart, you I think you can like it, or you can put it as your favorites. I'm not telling you to do it if you don't love it. Do it if you love it. So hopefully you guys have been loving this season. We've had phenomenal guests. We are going to be wrapping it up in a couple more episodes, which I am sad. But as you guys know, that I'm in school, so it's hard for me to keep up with the show as I'm in school. So a lot of these episodes were pre-recorded, of course, and except for today, I'm doing it right now. And then, of course, the next couple of episodes were pre-recorded, and we're gonna go ahead and I'll be wrapping it up in December. And then it'll come back next summer. So you guys have time to catch up. You have time to go over to YouTube and watch it. Watch me and the guest talk. Or you could go over to Spotify, Apple, or iHeart and listen wherever you're at. So either one doesn't matter to me. Just go watch it. Go listen to it somewhere and spread it on to others over the holidays, over the next couple of months, so that we can keep the podcast going. If you find value in it, then share it out. All right, you guys, as always, sending you guys so much love, so much light. Until next time, right? Bye.